My wife was pregnant with my child, but refused to treat me like the father or let me touch her bump, so I gave her an ultimatum. She then revealed a dark secret that changed everything, plus all updates. When my wife first became pregnant, she instantly started acting cold towards me, so much so that she wouldn't let me go to ultrasounds and wouldn't even let me feel the baby kicking in her belly. Her therapist suggested that this could be because she feels resentment towards me. He fully believes that because I have a 5-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, my wife doesn't feel special having my child. Ever since the therapist has explained this to her, my wife has completely gone off the rails. During our baby shower last week, she interrupted the entire celebration to tell everyone that this will not be my first kid, and that if anyone sees her distancing herself from me, not to ask her about it as it might trigger her. On top of pulling public stunts, she is also nasty and vile to me in person. If I ever mention anything about her bump, she comments about how my ex's was probably bigger. She refuses to acknowledge that I am the father of the baby, going as far as calling me the nut donor to her mother. If we go out together, she wears the loosest clothes so I don't see her bump. I'll even see her pull her shirt down when she sees me come into the room so I don't see her bump. She sat on me the other day, and her bump was right in my face, and I ran my hands over it, telling her, "You are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. You already are a great mom to Leah, my 5-year-old daughter from the previous relationship, and I can't wait to see you as our family grows." This the first times I was really able to feel her bump, so I rested my hand there and said, "I love you so much already. I'm so excited to meet you. I hope you have your mom's eyes." She moved off of me and said, "I know your ex had a bigger bump than me. I bet it was fun seeing Leah move all the time. You don't have to act like you care. I know you've done this before." I said, "I don't think about it that way. Leah is special, but this is a completely new and different special because it's with you, and our baby is someone completely new and special." She began to leave the room, and I could see her shoulders shaking from crying. I am 100% positive she is not cheating, nor has she ever. I just cannot wrap my head around why she doesn't want me to be happy about this. Thing is, the rest of the time is completely normal as long as I don't mention the baby. She is affectionate, initiates intimacy, and brags about what a good husband I am and how great I've made this pregnancy. We plan for our future, have date nights, and do everything else. Unfortunately, we had a fight where I snapped. I had a break between clients at work, so I went to a local baby store and got a lot of things she had planned for the baby and nursery from her Pinterest board. I came home and surprised her with flowers, a prenatal massage certificate, her favorite food, and the baby items. She seemed very grateful, but when I came home after going back to work, the items were no longer there. She said she returned them to buy Leah stuff, as Leah was going to feel left out. I lost it. I cried for the first time in our marriage and yelled that having a child with her was the worst mistake I've ever made, that at least my unfaithful ex gave me the chance to know my unborn child. I said that I didn't care about the baby because she wouldn't even let me bond with it. Note, I do care and have since she told me, but I was trying to hurt her like she hurt me. I told her that I hope she was as miserable as she made me and that she better be prepared for a custody dispute. She simply said, "I know you don't care about the baby, but I'll die before you take my baby from me." What? I have begged her to let me interact with her and our baby. I told her what I said above, and she responded that I had those experiences already, so it shouldn't matter. I asked her if the baby was mine. I know it is, but I was just being mean. She threw her phone at me and said, "Yes, go through it. I'll do a paternity test, whatever you need." I called her parents and asked them to go to our house as we were having a disagreement, and I went to a hotel. I do not want to stress her or our unborn child, and I really want to repair this, but I truly don't know how. I'm staying at an Airbnb for now until we can figure this out, but I truly don't know what to do. I miss her like crazy, and I can't even begin to understand why she wants to behave this way. I have apologized for what I said, but I can't take back my words, and I worry about when our baby is born, if she will even want to be a family with me, or let me have anything to do with our baby. What should I do? Update 1. After I posted and stewed for a little while and had a couple of drinks, I called my father-in-law. He and my wife are very close, and I respect his opinion. He has been married for a long time, seems to have a happy marriage, and has good relationships all around with his family. I didn't specify what issues we were having, but since he was over at my house while I was staying in an Airbnb, it was no secret we were having problems. He has more of a traditional marriage, and at some point, he asked what I had to lose by putting pressure on her to talk. I said I feared I would push her away more, and he pretty much told me that I was already living in a separate house from my pregnant wife, freaking out about a potential divorce. What did I have to lose? He advised me to be a man and come back to my house and lay it on the line. I told him I'd be coming over the next day. They asked if they could take Leah to buy some sparklers for the upcoming holiday and spend the night at their house. I agreed. And when I went to my house the next day, I came in with flowers and stuff to make dinner. My wife asked what I was doing there, to which I replied that I live there and would like to sit down and talk. I gave a long apology for my actions and words. When I finished, I said it was her turn to tell me what was going on. She tried to claim nothing was wrong, that everything was okay. After a while, I said my heart was broken, that we have been through some tough things together, fought for each other, and now she was sitting there lying to my face. We both sat there, and she cried for about 30 minutes until eventually she said she felt like our relationship would end if she was honest. I said I would hear her out, no matter what. She admitted that it was hard for her because this would be her first child, and not mine. She didn't think it would bother her, but it did once she became pregnant. She confessed that she laid in bed at night thinking that if my ex had wanted to raise Leah, we would still be a family together, and she wouldn't matter. She expressed that seeing me emotional about our baby, wanting to touch her bump, or treating her well, made her think of me and my ex, and how I had already done all of the things she was excited to do with me. Near the beginning of her pregnancy, she had told a close friend that she couldn't wait to have a baby with her soulmate. Her friend replied that she didn't think soulmates had other children or baby mamas, saying that soulmates were two people meant only for each other. This upset her deeply, and she asked if I thought we were soulmates as she did. She described herself and our unborn child as my sloppy seconds family, saying that no one grew up dreaming of having kids with multiple different people, and that she was just the substitute when the family I wanted didn't work out. She also shared that she had found some old images of my ex on social media and couldn't stop comparing her pregnant body to hers. She feared the baby wouldn't be an equal to Leah in my eyes. It worried her when I would ask what she thought the baby would be like, wondering what would happen if the baby were disabled, didn't like to do the things we enjoyed as a family, or if the baby and Leah didn't like each other. She said that at one point, she found herself wishing I had never had Leah, so she wouldn't have to worry as much. That's when she knew she had to really put in the extra effort to maintain a relationship with Leah. She feared that between work and Leah, I wouldn't have time for a bond with the baby. She read articles online about fathers not bonding with their children until they were able to do things with the family, and that concern weighed heavily on her. When I did try to bond with the baby, she worried the baby wouldn't live up to Leah. I have never been shy about saying how much being a father means to me, and how raising Leah has been the highlight of my life, along with marrying my wife, and now having our child together. She said it was initially what made her confident in marrying me, and excited to have a big family with me, but now she constantly wondered if her pregnancy and this baby would be a highlight or a burden for me, because the stress is the same, but the newness wasn't. She worried that a newborn and then a toddler wouldn't be as interesting to me as Leah, who is capable of doing activities. She showed me a million articles of different men explaining they didn't bond with their children until they were 4+ years old. She also showed me videos where people say things they did with their first kid and then get more relaxed as they have more children. She said it freaked her out because it was clear people stopped caring the more children they had. She said there were times she felt she was ruining our family and coming between me and Leah. For example, at the zoo, she cried on the way to the hospital because she was afraid Leah would hate her and resent the baby for cutting our zoo time short, and that I would be upset about spending my time off work at the hospital instead of doing the activities we had planned with Leah. While I work, Leah and my wife spend a lot of time out of the house, going to the library, local parks, etc. One of their favorite activities is biking together, and we bike together on weekends as well. We have lots of local trails, but due to her pregnancy, she has not been able to bike. As a result, we've been doing more indoor activities. My wife said that when I'm at work, Leah kept saying she hated her because she didn't get to go on her new bike as often anymore. I said I would discuss it with Leah because that is unacceptable. My wife asked me not to, since there would be so many changes soon for Leah, and it hurt her because she missed biking together as well. A couple of months ago, my wife asked me and Leah if we wanted to read stories together. Leah chose the first story I read, and my wife chose the second, her favorite childhood story, for me to read to the baby, and Leah, since it helps promote brain activity and bonding. After that, I read another book of Leah's choosing. While I was at work the next day, Leah ripped the pages out of the book my wife chose. My wife said she was going to tell me, but her friend, the same one who says we aren't soulmates, said I would think she was making it up, and that it seemed like she was trying to come between me and Leah. I asked her why she didn't tell me any of this, and she explained that she didn't feel comfortable because her thoughts didn't even make sense to her. She wanted me to spend time with Leah so she didn't feel left out or jealous, but when I did, she felt upset that I wasn't spending more time with her. She loves Leah, but wishes we had our first kid together. She wants me around, but also feels upset and guilty when I give her and our unborn baby attention. She said she feared that I would think she was trying to come between me and Leah, even though she wasn't. By the time I realized something was truly wrong and started to ask what was wrong, if she needed therapy, etc., she said she realized she was acting poorly, but didn't want to admit to herself that she missed out on a lot with me. She doubled down as it was hard to face that she made her fears a reality by pushing me away and not letting me care. She said she felt she couldn't start over and that her first pregnancy was a somewhat bad experience because of her own actions. At this point, I realized how terrible I had been. I apologized for making her feel like she couldn't come to me about anything. She said when she researched her feelings, she found a bunch of forums where people were calling the posters evil for their feelings about their stepchildren, and she feared I would feel the same. She said if I had told her I felt about Leah the way she felt about Leah, it would make her angry and upset, so she couldn't see how I wouldn't feel the same. We both cried for a long time. I tried to reassure her. I told her how much I loved her, how excited I was, that she was the family of my choosing and my soulmate, and that the universe knew that Leah and I needed her, which is why circumstances allowed us to be a family. She apologized for the way she treated me and said she wanted to make it right. She said she had wanted to apologize when I was beginning to have my meltdown, but was surprised when I yelled, and she realized she might have messed up beyond repair to get that reaction from me. We continued to cry for a long time, and she asked if I wanted to feel the baby. Of course, I said yes, and we cried even more. It turned out to be a great evening. I knew things were turning around when she woke me up by whispering, "Baby wants blueberry pancakes." That's Saturday. I don't think I've ever prepared pancakes so fast. I couldn't keep the smile off my face. We ended up going to a pool party a few days later, and she let me choose her swimsuit, a big deal for someone who only wore baggy clothes around me. We took family pictures, and the universe was clearly on my side because on the way home, she asked me to feel her belly, and our baby was hiccuping, something I had never felt before, and a first we could share together. She has even let me help her when she is sick, without making an excuse about Leah. I've learned that when she comes and puts her back to me and lifts her arm, that's my cue to lift her belly up. I now spend a lot of time rubbing and talking to her belly, and rubbing her feet, legs, back, shoulders, and hips. She is sore everywhere at this point. The first 500 times it made me cry. It has been such a relief to be involved. I never thought being tasked with acquiring the most random food items at 2 a.m. would be a great time for me, but it is. It still sucks that I missed out on a lot. I think it sucks for her too. She gets emotional and says a weight has been lifted off her and things are so much easier, and she is upset that she didn't talk to me sooner. I have been working to fix some of my wife's guilt, and I realized there were a lot of simple fixes. For example, I went to my local bike shop and got a pull-behind trailer. Now, I pull her in that, and she can use a small fan and ice packs while Leah rides her bike. I have taken time off work, so I can spend more time with both of them. We are all in therapy, and thankfully Leah's therapist continues to say she is securely attached to both of us, enjoys the time we spend together, is coping very well. Some of her behavior was due to another situation, which we have resolved, and she is excited to be a big sister. My wife was terrified that maybe Leah could sense her attitude shift, but her therapist says that Leah only has one complaint about my wife, that she forgot her candy one time, and then it took 32 whole minutes for the store to deliver it. My wife is in therapy, working to overcome the negative feelings she has. That is pretty much where we are now. We are getting very close to baby time, and working hard to finish preparing. My wife still needs reassurance, and there are a lot of times she brings up my ex. I've found that bringing up our first helps. For example, when she asks about certain things and how they were for me, I'll say, "I don't want to talk about that," and steer the conversation to us. I remind her of our first house, our first vacation, our first kiss, and our first date. I tell her about moments that made me fall more in love with her. I also bring up special memories involving her and Leah, like, "Do you remember when you and Leah made me so and so?" That is still one of my prized possessions. It upsets me that my wife suffered for so long. I believe that saying it out loud took a lot of power away from her feelings. I think most people know how badly it feels when you have thoughts that don't feel like your own during a mentally taxing time. I really should have stood up for our relationship and her mental health way sooner. I accepted her brushing me off for far too long when I should have realized she needed help.